Hey, sorry I haven't been uploading a video. There's a yellow jacket nest right outside the back door, right next to the siding. It's in a spot where I can't get to. They need to survive also. What is that? What's that wild pepper? Something. I forget half these wild plants. I'm pretty sure it is, which is good. If it is wild pepper, I have to look it up again if it is. The seeds taste like pepper, but like a medicinal pepper. It's good for your heart. And it has a nice peppery taste, and that's why you can get a pepper flavor in the northern climates. Man, they're trying, right? They're trying. Oh, little guy right there. Yeah, so I haven't been uploading videos because every time I open the back door, I got a pretty little female trying to come out and stab me. And I'm allergic, so I'm not trying to get stabbed. They're feisty too. As soon as that sliding glass door opens, they just jump right up. Oh man. Oh, grass seed. Yeah. Mung beans. That's what I'm talking about. Right? Oh. Beautiful. Just all over. There we go. Look at that turning black. See, I harvested some yesterday that it was brown. It didn't turn black. When the mung beans turn black, there we go. That's a better color. See? Vibrant color. When they turn black, they're ready. That means they're mature. I picked some when they were brown and dry, which means they died before they got to that maturity. And, finger. Look at that sorghum coming through. That's my Sudanese sorghum right there. See, it's just doing its thing. Now let's look at the little tomato plant, right? Oh, little tomato plant. This one was planted June 1st. And even though we see this, it's got a little bit more there. It starts here and is a huge vine that wraps all the way around here. And so it had all that growth from June 1st. And so if it just had more experience in this type of system, it may not have a massive vine. It may choose to branch up more. Those have extended anthers too, so there's a higher chance they can outcross. Just trying to be honest about it. Yep. That African sorghum still has to head. It's doing it now. They're all coming in. Right? It's getting there. It's a process, right? It's a process. Nothing's perfect. Everything's in a process. Let's go ahead. Oh. 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 Let that start breaking down. These don't go away easy. They're perennials. But I want it to start breaking down. Oh man, look at that one. Wow. And then the chia coming in swimmingly. Very nice. Sorry, I keep looking down because mosquitoes. They're getting frisky. It's getting colder. Oh. Yeah. How fast they move. Dang. And I think about it, everyone wants them to be dead. Not everyone, but sure does seem like that. Look how big that is. It's like some parts are like 2.5 feet, dude. They're still about a month old, It's about a month old. It's my African cow piece. Oh, the vigor they have. Their want and desire to live is huge. Right? It's probably my best corn right there. Of the second batch, but you guys haven't seen Illinois yet. Illinois is... I have pictures, but it's different when I have harvest in hand. And so... yeah. Currently writing a book. I made a video last night. I just turned into me rambling. And then it got dark. And then it's just me rambling. Well, I mean, every video is just me rambling, but that was extra ramblishness. Right? I think we should go look at those okra. See how big they've gotten. It's been, what, a week or two or something like that? I don't know. Don't know. Alright. But yeah, so I just been studying, writing on this book. Trying to get this book done. That way I can send it out to the world. And it is a conglomeration of my experiences, not only as... Look at that baby sorghum right there. He said, I'm little, but I'm a-trying. He said, I'm little, but I'm trying. And he will have seed saved. Why not? Wow. Man. Sorry, I felt a spider web on my hand. Oh, what's this little guy doing? He said, I'm relaxing. He said, I'm being relaxful. Sitting on this leaf. There's another little one there. He said, I'm being relaxful. Sitting on this leaf. Let's see, you see that? Look at that. There's still stuff growing underneath it. That's good. That's good. I was worried that it would just remain a monocrop and not have stuff spread underneath. So I'm glad stuff is spreading. I mean, there's a limit, right? There's a limit to how much is, probably like, and this inner part's still not there. But when my spelt was here, it ate everything. Everything was consumed. Every root of Johnson grass, every root of turf grass, everything in the ground it consumed, except for the seed bank. And not very good. Dang. Look at that. I might have to keep those soybeans. Man, look at this. so fuzzy wuzzy. So fuzzy wuzzy. It's my Lithuanian millet. My mother's side is from Lithuania. Beautiful, beautiful butterflies. Look at that. Strutting. Yeah. What a beautiful, beautiful. Can't have this in a standard backyard. Heck no. Heck no at all. Dang, look at that little boy. It's a little guy. Look at that. He's still doing it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not really showing you much. I'm just kind of, here, let me do this. All right, we're looking for beans. Spot one there. All right, there's tons of flowers, but I'm not seeing much stuff. It's a lot of flowers. It's getting cold, all right? We're starting to get down to 40-degree nights, 50-degree nights. There we go, little guy. Yeah, those are the unsung heroes. And so, dang, man, look at this growth. Just look at the lignin on this baby. I mean, it's still a little soft, right? It's still soft, but it's getting there. Man, they're trying. You can see where, like, the wind knocks them down in the middle. This is good. You know, some people might say, wow, what a big patch. Do you really need all this? And the question is, the answer to that, sorry, that's the question. The answer is, heckin' yeah, I do. You know why? Because of this little guy right there. He needs food. No, it's because imagine if I would have lost this middle patch here, and that's all I grew due to strong winds. If I would have lost that, these genetics would be toast. Look at that leaf damage. What if little Mr. Guy right there gets really hungry and just eats all my leaves, right? It's happened. Happens all the time, right? I have nothing to fall back on. Not only that, cowpeas are nice. Look at that little guy right there. Where's he at? There he is. He just said, I'm being relaxful. He's just a relaxful guy. Let's see if I can... Nope, I need a better camera. Sorry. Phone does not have a good camera. It is what it is. It's life, and that's how we're dealing with it right now. Whoa. I mean, I'm still getting used to things jumping at me. Dang, look at this leaf. Large size hands. Wow. Amazing. Look right there. Got some beans growing. Wow, look at that. It's getting ready. Alright? I'm just enjoying this. Dang. Look at those those are huge. Dang, those are like at least 7 inches, dude. I'm not even joking. Like, oh man, I gotta. Dang. You see that? You see that that leaf in comparison there? Here's that same leaf to my finger. So you can tell that thing's huge. Oh, pretty flowers. Dang, look at these guys. Wow. Hold on. Alright, my hand's at the base. Dang, at least 7 inches. Amazing. Amazing. Can't wait till it's ready. You know, it's fuzzy. You gotta wait for it to dry. Right? Sorry about my finger. Wow, just beautiful. See, we got some bean plants dying. See, last year I gave them nitrogen, right? Via the human body. Wow, look at that gorgeous beauty right there. Wow, that's a beauty. Wow. Wow, that's gorgeous. Oh, man. So last year I gave them a lot of nitrogen. And then also the genetics I grew were a little bit different. There's another one other right there. Same species. I mean, that's not the same species, but... Wow. Got quite a few of them, actually. So I guess my thing is, last year I gave them nitrogen from the human body, right? For those who know, you know. For those who don't, having an overnight bottle is sometimes very useful if you dilute it with water. Probably about 1 part overnight liquid, right, from the human body, and 20 parts water. You will create a nice blend that if you put it on the roots or base of your plants, will have some of the fastest, quickest absorbing and utilized nitrogen that you can get. Ugh, ragweed. Ugh. Ugh. It's going to be a nightmare back here. There's my shiso. So again, burn pit, sorry. Not my house. I'm just here. Here till I'm not. Ugh. Whew. Again, not my house. So, wow, look at that. The only thing here is my plants and me. That's me and the plants. Everything else stays when I leave. What a sad state for this corn. See, this corn did better. This is my cornfield corn. Or not, sorry, corn. My cornfield beans. They did much better being in shade than in full sun. Which is unfortunate because, you know, they're hard to get. Sorry. The plant's dying, so I'm just saying if there's any gifts, and the only gift it is for the earth. For the microbes. Right? I'm feeding microbes more than I feed myself. Which is great. So I should hopefully be able to do this at a new property next year. Where I have more control over the landscape. I can do things how I want to. Put up perennials, right? Do like a border of perennials. Kind of like how this is. You have all those perennials and you have the trees. And then more, you know. That canopy adds to, I'm sure you can hear it, just the life, the nature, the wilderness, sorry, you know, life, nature, you know, because what's in the standard backyard? What's in the standard backyard? Who knows? Oh, that's right, mosquitoes. Right? At least out here, there's other stuff. And dragonflies. You know, if you have a nice manicured lawn, you don't see dragonflies every day. But out here, I see dragonflies every day. See, I went to the Kaw River to look for, you know, forage crops. Because, you know, your boy does that. And, you know, I saw giant black wasps, right, in the wild for the second time. My first time was literally the day before, or 2 days before that. This was like a week ago. And so 2 days ago, I'm in my bedroom, right, and there's this black insect on my curtain. And I grab it, right, to go release it, but I want to see what it is, so I open up a little bit. I could have swore I saw a big stinger. But it was like, man, I mean, all I saw was a stinger, right? And it started flying around, and my littlest dog, she tried to eat it, right? Because, you know, they like trying to eat the flies and stuff. You know, moths and stuff that creeps in, you know. We have 5 dogs here, and so when I let them outside, you know, stuff likes to slip in. And, you know, she tried to eat it, right? And it stung her a couple times, you know. I mean, of course, I treated her for it, and she's perfectly fine, you know. She didn't swell up at all, really. But it kept trying to escape, and it was interesting. I mean, it was a solitary, English, not my strong suit. I can ramble for hours, but, you know, let me make coherent sense. That's a different topic. But, it tried to escape, and it finally got away, right? And that freaked me out. I was trying to figure out what it was. Well, the next day, something black comes and hits me in the neck, right? An insect. And I look at it, and it was the same one. I was like, oh, crud. You know, and then, like, I see it in the garden, right? And they eat grasshoppers. These are insects that I have no experience with living in the city, right? Living in the urban area. And I have no experience with them. Well, because ignore that, there's no ecosystem to produce food. You know, everyone is tired of grasshoppers, but they're not allowing for the habitats for predatory insects. It's crazy to me. And so that's why in this book, I'm really trying to pull together everything I've learned from me being an instructor in conservation agriculture. You know, me having affiliations and being a seed steward, genetic seed steward for a national nonprofit here in America. Right? And the conservation agriculture one is for an international ministry. And so, like, I have these accomplishments, but they're not my focus, right? I mean, yes, I have this education, right? I have this education, but the teaching in it isn't what I believe in for breeding. Food production, yes, without a doubt. Food production, number one. You know, dang, look at that. Look at that big old honker over there. Anyways, you know, for food production, yeah, absolutely, it's number one. But for, I can hear my dog huffing through the sliding glass door. They want out here so bad, but as soon as I open that door, they're going to get stung. Oh, you know. So, you can actually eat this right now. Anyways, at this stage you can. When it's green like that, at that stage you can't. It's not ready yet. But at this stage you can. And you can tell, I can tell what it is just from looking at it. So anyways, yeah, I mean, my system that I am going towards is just different. This is what it is. This is me. This is not what I'm taught to teach others. This is me. And, it's a combination of conservation agriculture. It's a combination of do nothing farming, right? A combination of land raised gardening. It's just a combination of so many things. The soil web, right? How to build soil, right? The farms I've been to and done huge research projects at, the workings with different breeders, corn breeders and plant breeders around the United States, and my trips to different farms and homesteads, and seeing different sights and experiences and ways of life, and my travels and my background in culinary at a nonprofit. I was a sous chef for almost 3 years. All this experience is just being funneled into this, where it's not just about the soil, it's not just about the composition for an ecosystem, it's not just about the plant types, the variety, it's not just about the genetics, it's not just about the conservation methods to preserve soil health. That's a katydid right there, I can hear it. No, maybe, I don't know. I'm still trying to identify, I'm a city boy, right? That thing's just loud. I just remember being loud in the house. That's all I remember. Loud and annoying as a katydid. And so, but, see, assuming, let's pretend that is a katydid or a sound of a predator, right? Just by listening, I can tell what's in my ecosystem. I can tell what's in my city. I can tell what's here. Of course, crickets are crickets. We know what they sound like. Grasshoppers, right? Cicadas, right? I guess so. I don't know. Half the time I don't even know myself, right? So beautiful. There's a dragonfly. Dragonflies are always on the move, right? If you can get them standing still, it's a vulnerable but magical moment. And so my whole point is this, is that my point is this, is that my whole experience in life and education and what I've seen is this. And then, in fact, I have this huge, how much life is in those trees? Those trees there too, right? And then I have this short little perennial thing here. Right? Short little perennial. Right? And so, the sun's up there, it comes through. These trees block it, but, in my design, those trees won't be there. Again, you have to tailor it to your atmosphere. But this provides the habitat. This provides the habitat. You know how many toads I find over here? What do toads eat? Exactly. Stuff we don't like. I see tree frogs. When I cut down my giant ragweed, I hit a couple tree frogs. I felt horrible, right? But, that's why I need to work on how I, take down my crops. Instead of swinging right there, I need to swing down below. Because that's not where the tree frogs are. The tree frogs are in the branches. Well, the leaves, they're in there. They're not at the base. The toads might be, but not the tree frogs. Oh no, just all these experiences are being combined together into one book. And it's not so much the information for other people. It's not a do or say for other people to have, as it is so much for me to have that philosophy, that mentality, to access it whenever I want, even though people are saying otherwise. I've received so much pushback on this, right? So much pushback. Oh, you'll never have the yield you want. It's like, yeah, it's not the point. It's not about the yield. It's about the resilience, right? That's our problem. We have optimized our food system to be only about the yield. You know, the flavor, the personality, the history, the resilience is gone. So much that we have to kill every single insect, every single bacteria and protozoa and nematode and every little thing, and make a completely sterile field, and then use fossil fuels to create nitrogen and mine our other nutrients that we need and minerals to just, completely resupply the land, right? And just drain it of everything. Ooh. It's crazy. It's a suicide attempt. Wow. Humanity is pushing itself towards extinction on many different facets. It's horrible. I like that little bush right there. It's multiple plants, but it looks nice. Let's see what this looks like. One plant is this. That's one plant. So this is, look at all those plants. They're just chia seed, right? You know the chia seeds? Chia seed pudding that all the influencers talk about for 30 years, right? You can only grow in Mexico. Well, I'm in Kansas City. It's a special variety. You can't only buy seeds for it. You just got to know where to get it. But that's not the point. The point is that people say you can't do this, you can't do that, and it's not really their fault. They're just part of the system, right? They're a product of the system. It's just I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know. I just feel like just because our current system says you have to do a certain way. There's so much life here. The birds come here to eat insects, toads, frogs, wasps I've never seen before, massive freaking giant katydids. I'm sure there's a whole bunch more I'm not even seeing. Just the cycle of life. Even then, you got even just the bees. There we go. It's probably a honeybee. Anyways, it's just, the amount of life here. That if this just was a perfectly manicured backyard, wouldn't exist. Because just like a population, right? If I didn't have a huge population of that, it could technically, through disease and famine and, I guess not famine, drought or, ecological problems or pests, could wipe out this whole species if I had a certain number of them. But by having a diverse amount of species or a number that are able to procreate with each other like this, right? You have more genetic diversity, and that is a really big aspect to longevity. Just like with humans, we'll inbreed into extinction. The same way with almost all species. Inbreeding is not ideal. It limits genetics. That's why they make hybrids, like a hybrid corn. They take two cultivars and cross them, and it alleviates that inbreeding depression, and it has a super vigor, right? Right? And that's the thing, having a diverse population so that vigor doesn't dissipate as quickly. And then also receiving new genetics every now and then, right? By receiving something new and trading with people, you're improving your genetic line. But it's just not about plants or people. It's about insects too. It's about birds. It's about amphibians, right? Dragonflies, right? Lizards, toads, frogs, crickets, grasshoppers, katydids, wasps, bees. Inbreeding into extinction, loss of habitat is real. There's a lot of political stuff nowadays about land, and it's like, all of humanity has destroyed habitats of nature. Every civilization has destroyed it. And it's destroying this planet. We're losing so many of our honeybees, right? I'm not even talking about our wild bees. Mind you, I got a master pollinating steward, It's one of my multiple titles, right? What's that mean? Nothing. The emphasis of it is you see a bug, don't kill it. Let it be. The problem will fix itself. And here's a bunch of bugs you might see. That's all it means. It means that humans are part of nature, and bugs are part of nature, and plants are part of nature. And the more we try to separate ourselves from that, the more harm it causes. And if there's a problem, nature has a solution. And it's normally in the form of another bug. And so, birds are great, but not all birds. I don't have birds that hunt here. What hunts my pest insects or predatory insects? There's tons of birds everywhere. I mean, you just heard one if it did pick it up. But it's not, these birds aren't out here really digging in, right? They're not. It's the insects and wasps that are truly eating. And so, that's my emphasis of this video, right? It's just to set up the foundation, right? This right now, is this pretty? No, this is rough draft, right? I'll be implementing a final draft, hopefully next year, where it's a lot more structured. It's structured chaos. This is just chaos, which is good to observe because we're so used to nice manicured lawns. We're not used to this, or Instagram level, gardens, right? Where we have to spend $300 to make tomatoes, and then we're like, oh wow, I could have just went to the supermarket and got tomatoes myself. It would have been, 5% of the price, And people are like, it's not about that. It's about having tomatoes at home. And it's like, I'd rather say, why can't growing your own produce be cheaper, even for grains? I mean, that's my whole point. I mean, all that's food grade. All of it is. It's all food grade, right? This chia seed is food grade. This sorghum right here, not that. That's seed. Sorry, don't look at that. This right here is food grade. Got the corn from a breeder, right? These beans, food grade. That's all food grade. I get it for a couple pounds for a huge bulk amount, You don't have to spend $90 on a pound of breeder seed or more. You don't have to. I mean, you can get a considerable chunk at a good price. You just got to be smart about it. I mean, will I provide seed for the stuff that survives in my system? I will, because some people just don't want to go through that process. And, the more money I make, the more I can do stuff with, right? Right? I want my system to be I want it to provide for itself. I don't want it to have to be an input. I want my system to be an output, and not only food, but resources such as fiat currencies and, relationships and trade and, just life experiences. I want this system to be an output. And when you have to input fertilizer, compost, mulch, these specialty seed seed packs of hybrid seeds, you know, and transplanting and, you know, all this stuff to just grow some whatever. It's a scam. I mean, this is how our ancestors farmed. Oh, but it's not as efficient. And it's like, yeah, but the modern garden is small. They want you to have a plot this big and the rest of it be mowed. Right? You're not really going to feed yourself, right? No, you're just growing tomatoes and green beans and sweet corn. The shit you can't survive on. You know? Oh, but it's nice. Yeah, it's nice. Heck yeah, it's nice. It's tasty and it's expensive at the store. Absolutely. You're saving tons of money by growing it at home. Unless you're paying for compost and nutrients. And then you're weeding everything because the plants can't survive. And you know what I mean? I mean, I don't weed shit, dude. Does it look like I weed anything? No, it doesn't. I don't weed shit. I don't. I say, dang, they're dying. Oh, that sucks. Oh, man. But it just means the ones that survived have that much better traits. Or just were in a better environment, right? Maybe that specific spot had a little bit more nutrients. Maybe that specific spot had a little bit more rainwater. Or had, you know, maybe a squirrel pooped right next to it, right? You know what I mean? I'm just saying, it's like, you know, I mean, last year I gave this nitrogen. This year I did no such thing. I did no such thing. Right? But those cornfield beans, you know what I mean? It's night and day difference. The ones that were under a canopy, who got partial sun versus full sun, you know, it's a huge difference. But I like stuff that needs full sun. I like full sun because it utilizes it better. Shade's important, right? You know, shade's important, but I mean, sometimes you're not guaranteed shade. Shade's a luxury, right? Especially with deforestation happening. That's a lot of shade that's going away. So I try to tailor my crops to, I mean, look, I have this here, but I'm also in a wilder part of the city I live in, right? Closer to farmland, right? But if I was, you know, in a little town in Wyoming or Iowa or Nebraska or central Kansas or even parts of Oklahoma and Texas where it's just wide open, I need crops that can handle full sun all day. It's just a fact of life. And so partial shade is a luxury, right? Even corn sits in full sun all day, but the sun hurts the corn. The corn's just really good about enduring it. You know? Just is what it is. That's why you get stuff called like tassel blast, right? Stuff that happens to the corn. That's why you get anthocyanins. That pigmentation helps a little bit. We see that a lot in Mesoamerican corn. That anthocyanin content. Southwestern corn. You know? I'm not looking through this camera. I have the camera just pointed at something while I'm talking. I'm scanning the whole garden, looking at grasshoppers jump and bees, and I'm just scanning back and forth. So sorry if I'm not. If I had the glasses to record stuff, you know, then it would be easier. I could just record what I'm looking at, right? Which would be so beneficial, you know. So again, you know, like I said, if my ecosystem can provide for me not only food but also fiat, and the inputs are next to nothing, it's just intelligence is the only ask it has, is for me to be an intelligent steward. That's the only ask. And in return, I get food, I get fiat, I get an extension of life, a legacy. Being able to pass down genetics from generation to generation. steward those and ship it all over the world for people to utilize, combined with their own inheritable genetics. Ooh, that's a beautiful thing. Right? Makes that hybrid tomato on the transplant shelf not look as appealing. That's just me though, but I'm a little different, you know what I mean? You gotta be a little different to have this mentality. And if I can have my creature comforts, right? Like I like chia seeds. Yeah, I get chia seeds for 3 pounds for $10, man. Organic. Yeah, is this practical? No. I mean, this is not for food. I know what chia seeds taste like. I know, you know what I mean? I know what they're like. This is not for food. This is for the genetics, right? Because if times get hard and trade starts to collapse, like during COVID, it was hard to get stuff. During COVID, I mean, I was working at a kitchen at a nonprofit, right? I was a sous chef there, and it was very hard to get stuff at times. And so this is less about, oh, look, I have chia seed at home. And it's more about if trade gets disrupted. It's not that I have a cheaper form of it, right? Which technically I will, but I have to grow a lot of it in order to compensate for the amount that I eat. But the point of it is that look at that. These are all white flowers, and that one's not. That one has purple flowers. But they're more like a violet. Hold on, let me see if I can put my finger in there. There you go. That one's unique. Oh. I know not to mow this. Oh, actually, I can mow this. It won't matter. Right next to it, because I want to keep that. I'll have a mixed population, and then I'll add that in there so I can have color variety. And the reason why I do that is because first of all, I grow, this is a great, sorry, I'm probably covering the mic. So I put that there, that way I can come back to it, those unique flowers in my chia plant. Oh. So that way when I have seed, right? This is a great example for the video. This is a great example because I planted so many. We get to see one that is more beautiful, right? And because they cross genetics, hopefully that trait we crossed, and I can have a white and blue flower chia. And the reason why that's important is because pollinators, specifically bees, have a color mission. And so they will go out and search for a color. They have a certain type of color type in their mind, right? That's how it's explained. It's probably way more advanced than that, but they're searching for certain colors. And so by having different color crop, because this chia started flowering like a month and a half ago, right? Like it grew for like 30 days and then it started flowering. And so this has been flowering the whole summer pretty much since July, right? Since, July 4th, let's say that. And so, I mean, this has been attracting pollinators every single day. And to start having multiple color variations of a plant that attracts pollinators every single day is massive. It's massive. And so it allows the bees to be able to isolate color. Sorry, I'm looking at something hop around. Isolate, you know, their color sequence better. It's just fantastic. All these different colors. And that's what I'm saying with a small, if all I had was this, and that's it, even though it's like 20 plants, this little patch right here, it's not enough to show phenotypes for expression. It's not enough. Same with insects, same with people, same with humans, right? Animals, right? Keeping a population small makes it susceptible. And that's mainstream gardening. They want you to have, 5 or 6 tomato plants, They want you to, and they make their money in the compost and everyone thinks it's separate companies. It's all owned by the same company. It just has different names for it, right? The same people growing the transplants, the same people selling you the seed, the same people making the compost, selling the mulch, selling the liquid fertilizer, right? That's all the same company. I mean, there's not to get into it. I mean, there's like 3 massive entities that own most of everything. And so even though each company has different margins and they may be in competition with each other, the one that owns most of the stock of those companies is the same entities. And so like the only way to break that is by having something outside of it. Well, they don't think people are going to do the work, right? That's the whole point. They're banking on that people are not going to do the work. Dang, look how big that head is on that. Jeez, that sorghum's getting it. It maybe just looks like that, or maybe it is. Dang, look at that. That's a big one right there. And so basically what I'm trying to get at is the only way to like really make your choice matter is by not giving into that choice. They gave you a multiple choice, right? But no matter what answer you give them, it still benefits it because it's their test. Sometimes you have to create a new test, and that's the whole point about this book I'm writing, right? That it's for people to have their own source of everything. Not so much how do you make compost. I'm not gonna lie, compost is a pain in the butt to make. Doing it properly, right? In conservation agriculture, right? You're talking about a 5 cubic foot, right? I mean, that's a pain in the butt. With a small group, it took us hours to make. You need so much biomass. So that's why I show you guys, right? That's why I show you guys stuff like this. You can just, take this, and then, right? That's a spider on there. It's a little spider. See, he's waiting for some food. And you just, deposit it there. And then from dust to dust, right? It just becomes a part of the earth again. That's it. And then getting the food that can utilize it is huge. Right? Oh, isn't that pretty? So pretty. And that's the whole point. That's the whole point. That's the point of everything. That's the point of everything. It's all pieces to the same puzzle, right? How do we bring nature back in our food system? See, look, that's a bumblebee right there. It's massive. Look at that. Even that big old guy is still enjoying this, right? Regardless if there's pollen or not. There's a couple of them, I'm just saying, like, It's just amazing. The yield will come, but you have to make the ecosystem first. The yield will come. It'll come. It will come. See right there, there's more. Oh, so pretty. Sorry, I'm just putting these stakes in. I don't have a rubber mallet with me, so it's harder. You know, people spend a lot of money to experience this away from home. They go to a park or to the woods or a riverbed or... Yeah, I'm not fishing right here, you know, I'm not... But, you know, to just sit here and hear the sounds, right? People spend a lot of money to experience this. The frequencies, the vibrations, all these sounds are frequencies that's ingrained in our psyche. And we wonder why we're having so many issues. You know, we've taken humans out of nature and tried really hard to keep nature away. So it's less about controlling nature and more about how can we let nature express itself and us at the same time gaining outputs from it. How can our input be intelligence, but our outputs be life? If we just plan how to do things with intellect, we don't need to spend all this money. Every need that an ecosystem has, the pioneer plants solve it. There's always something there that's ready to solve the issue. It just might take a little bit of time to forming it. Or you might need to be a little bit proactive in what you secure. Goodbye.